Mark Zuckerberg, the man, the myth, the legend. He needs no introduction. I think he is creating a future we should be very scared of. I think he's creating an alternative reality and trying to lure us outside of our own. And we can learn how this is all supposed to develop by looking at the three largest products Mark Zuckerberg ever created: Facebook, the metaverse, and the Ray-Ban Meta smart glasses. But to understand how this all ties into a grand narrative of dystopia and deception, we first need to take a look at the social media side of things. Facebook. In February 2004, the Facebook was launched, and very soon it became the prominent platform for students to befriend each other online. The formula quickly became a wild success, first on campus but then throughout society altogether. Everybody was making a Facebook account. And as social media got bigger, Facebook also bought Instagram and WhatsApp, creating the three horsemen of the Facebook empire. Now at first your feed consisted fully of things that you and your friends posted, and it was chronological. So you would open the app, see what your friends posted until a certain date, and then it would end. And for a while this was genuinely fun. You were able to see what your friends posted, you were able to get in contact with people you had not spoken to for a while. All seemed good. Clearly something changed, because nowadays your friends are buried under a layer of fake news, AI slop and rage bait. The reasoning behind this, of course, has to do with money. A lot of money. You probably know that platforms like Facebook show ads to make money, and the more ads they show you, the more money they will make. Additionally, the better ads are tailored to your personal preferences, the more Facebook is allowed to charge for them, which meant that Facebook had two incentives: to show you as many ads as possible and to have those ads be tailored as well as possible. And around this goal, Facebook built its algorithm. In all kinds of unseen and fascinatingly specific ways, Facebook started classifying you and everybody else into little boxes. For example, of a depressed 44-year-old strategic consultant that likes to wear funny hats. Now, as this process went on, Facebook got to know more and more about us, and the algorithm was able to classify more and more about us. And this is where it got really scary, because Facebook was still maximizing metrics like how much time you were actually spending on the platform. We were still supposed to, of course, watch more and more of those sweet ads, but the problem there is that, psychologically speaking, we are not meant to be on online platforms all the time. Additionally, the best way to keep us hooked, Facebook discovered, is to show us content that is vile and inhumane and dangerous to look at for extended periods. When we experience something like shock, anger or sadness, we tend to linger around, and that's good for the algorithm, but it's really bad for our mental state. Fake news leads to outrage and therefore to more time spent on the platform, more ads showed. Ka-ching. Promoting disordered eating to vulnerable children leads to more time spent on the platform and more ads sold. Ka-ching. And serving more and more radical content leads to more time spent on the platform and therefore, you guessed it, more ads shown. Ka-ching. At the same time as collateral damage, users and especially children were developing depression, eating disorders and becoming more and more radicalized. Now, this happened on a massive scale, and by doing this it also contributed to multiple humanitarian atrocities, including mass murder. Clearly these algorithms were influencing our character and our actions in a very negative way. Promoting well-being, fighting fake news and combating genocide simply turned out not to be profitable. Now, sadly, in some cases, this was very clear at the Facebook headquarters. After a while, they knew that elections were being influenced, that young people were becoming more and more depressed from Instagram usage, and that Facebook was being used to incite mass violence. But the priority once again was threefold: attention, for ads, for money. Anyways, a lot of this actually had to be revealed by a whistleblower, and I recommend you read her book. Facebook didn't really come out with any of this themselves though. Then, after all of the negative media attention, Facebook decided to pivot towards a project that could take even more of your time, of your attention, and thereby make them even more money. It is time for the metaverse. In 2021, Zuckerberg announced the metaverse with these iconic animations that I'm sure you've seen before. Now, while Facebook had been a tremendous success, the metaverse was a terrible flop. There are 3 reasons why that is the case. Firstly, the reputation of Facebook, or now Meta, had been hurt by all the negative press. Turns out people don't really want to join your alternative world when they think you're really scary. Secondly, the idea of stepping into this VR metaverse was a bit weird for people, too far removed from their everyday lives. And thirdly, the metaverse still looked like some worse version of Roblox that had not really been finished yet. But before we go further into why it failed, it's probably good to take a look at what was the ambition in the first place, because it was enormous. The metaverse was basically built as the next step of the internet, as a successor to it. A 3D virtual world where people could live, shop, work and socialize. Where you could build a whole new life inside of this virtual reality owned by Zuckerberg. So the goal was to create an alternative reality you would step into owned by Meta. Now that should not really sound like a product announcement to you anymore and more like a warning at this point. And luckily it was a huge disaster. $70 billion were thrown at the project and now it's being silently quit. At some point people estimated that on average there were only about 900 users on the platform. Well, luckily the metaverse failed, right? Well, in a way, but you could also see this as a huge learning opportunity, because the ambition of getting us into a reality that they own didn't really go anywhere. What failed was the interface. Nobody wanted to put on VR glasses and join their reality and leave our own behind. So what if you didn't have to do all of that? Enter the Meta Ray-Ban smart glasses. There were only a few hundred people in the metaverse, but there are millions of people that have bought the smart glasses that Meta is currently producing. These glasses do actually fix all of the problems that the metaverse had. The scary reputation is solved by collaborating with Ray-Ban, who are known for making slick sunglasses, and there's nothing scary about that. These glasses are an addition to your world. They don't expect you to step into another one. And the Ray-Ban glasses look good. Once again, collaborating with Ray-Ban was really a golden move. In 2026, the production capacity of Meta Ray-Ban smart glasses is supposed to be at 20 to 30 million. And understandably so, they're able to do more and more wonderful things. They're AI powered, they're stylish, and they look like the future, in a good way of course. But here is the point, Zuckerberg is still building an alternative future for you. Hear me out. In 2024, 2 Harvard students did something that made global headlines. They put facial recognition software on these smart glasses, and while walking around on the streets, they were suddenly able to pull up all kinds of information about the people around them. Names, home addresses and phone numbers within seconds, without any form of hacking. There were just the smart glasses and actual available online software, and the people that were being identified had no clue that this was happening. And that was 2024. Facial recognition software is only getting better, so think about where we are at right now. Every time you put on those glasses, you are potentially running facial recognition software on anybody you see on the streets. And the people that are being identified would never actually have consented to any of that, and I don't think they actually would either. We cannot trust Meta to not gather information and data if they have the opportunity to do so. They've consistently done it in the past without our consent. Now there's another issue there. The phone that you had in your hand knew the information that you gave it. These glasses are able to observe the world you're seeing, and that data will of course actively be used to train the algorithm behind these smart glasses to understand what you look at, what you focus on, what you care about. The same mechanism that made the Facebook algorithm so scarily good is now running in the background continuously when you're wearing those glasses, gathering all kinds of data that we can't even imagine. So, Facebook tried to keep you hooked on the platform for as long as possible. The metaverse tried to get you into an alternative reality, and these smart glasses are building the alternative reality on top of your vision. The result, however, is eerily similar, because you are still building their world and they're still pulling you into their world step by step. And this time, if you're wearing the glasses, you're not the only one affected. Everybody you encounter is as well. So here is what we have. We have 3 different products that seem to do approximately the same thing, or at least have a comparable goal. The metaverse we saw coming, but these Meta smart glasses are going to be on the faces of tens of millions of people, infringing everybody's privacy. The priorities of Facebook or Meta never really changed here. It's still your data, your privacy, your attention that's being used for their monetary gain. The only thing that changed along the way is the way that they're doing this and how intrusive it feels. The phone at first felt like a gadget too, but it's more and more becoming an interface through which we're experiencing reality. The glasses from Meta have the same goal, but one step further. Not like the metaverse, a portal into Zuckerberg's world, but his world projected onto yours. We need to make sure that we are aware of these things, because if we are not, we risk falling into these traps without actually knowing it. Thanks for watching. Please share this video with a friend or family member or somebody else you know that should really watch it. And if you're here anyway, you might as well drop me a like and subscribe. And leave your thoughts in the comments below, please. Ciao!